And we're back. This is the Theotek podcast, and you've been watching the 24-hour marathon. If you've missed the first 23 hours, then we had some pretty interesting things. La Rosa danced naked on his couch. No, he's not with us tonight. We actually are just starting off. It's been the first time in, I don't know, how long has it been, guys, since we had a Theotek podcast? It feels like a while.
3 or 4 weeks. Rick didn't have a beard the last time that we did this.
That's true. Rick didn't have a beard the last time he was with us on the Theotek podcast.
I think I came in. Didn't I come in late to one of the podcasts, and you saw my beard?
That is true.
I came in like the last 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, maybe the last one. You were in the last at the very end of it. But we're glad to have you, Rick Warren. Rick Warren. Where did that come from? Rick Mansfield.
I'm not Rick Warren. I'll take his salary though, but I'm not Rick Warren.
No, he's not. Rick Mansfield of Accordance Bible Software, and we're going to talk to him about that in just a second. We also have Wesley Allen, who is a pastor extraordinaire in Jersey and near the Philadelphia area. And then also in the same area is our good friend Antoine Wright from the future. What year is it now where you live, Antoine?
We're Baptist drink wine.
We're Baptist drink wine. Well, I'm not one of those Baptists.
It was a long time ago for me, Antoine.
It's either a long time ago or a long time in the future. So it's interesting that he's doing that. And I will say, for public consumption, I do not condone his behavior on the air. Anyway, no, we're glad that all of you are joining us here on the Theotek podcast, and we're going to have a good time. Tonight we're talking about Bible software training and learning and studying and getting better. Some of you probably have spent hundreds of dollars on your Bible software. Others of you maybe even thousands. And I've heard of people who have spent literally tens of thousands of dollars on Bible software. I don't think I'm in that category yet, but I hope I never will be. But anyway, we're going to talk about how to master it. We're not going to help you master your Bible software, but we're going to show you places and things that places you can go and things that you can do in order to get more skilled at using your personal Bible software, whichever one it is that you use. But we're going to start, since we have a man in the room with us today who this is his career, helping people learn how to use the excellent Accordance Bible software. And so, Rick, what is your advice to people who are using software in general, but also Accordance Bible software, on how to get skilled at it and use it more effectively and efficiently?
Well, it's a good question. And of course, I would also say, hopefully you've got a purpose for learning to use the software. Maybe you're a pastor and you want to prepare sermons. Maybe you're a student and want to, you're taking original language classes. Maybe you're a professor and you want resources for teaching or something like that. Or maybe you're just a good lay person who have a more serious Bible study. That's the first why that you're doing that. I more than likely, by the time anyone invests in Bible software, hopefully they do know why they're doing this, but you never know. But I would say that's number one, and maybe that goes without saying. But I've got an article that I'll give you the link later, Kevin. You can put it in the show notes. But it's called 7 Ways to Become an Accordance Expert. And I recognize that there's more than accordance out there. Most of these points, and I can walk through them, or maybe we can take them one at a time or something like that. But they would apply to more than just us. But this is, the very first thing that I list there to becoming an expert in accordance, or again, you could say any other Bible software, is to just really live in it. And what I mean by that is, I have bought software programs at times because I wanted. Well, let me give you a good example. I have bought back a year ago. I bought Final Cut Pro. I was going to learn how to use Final Cut Pro to edit video, but the last few videos that I've edited have still been in Camtasia. I think I even did 1 or 2 in iMovie, and the difficulty is I haven't thrust myself into Final Cut Pro and made myself use that because it's kind of intimidating. I think Rick, as far as
you for just 1 second, just ahead. For those who aren't in the Mac universe, explain what you just said. Basically, about you bought Final Cut, but you've used iMovie and Camtasia.
Okay, so for video editing, there are really two. Maybe there's more than two, but there's two top level video editings on the Mac. One of them is Adobe Premiere, which I actually happen to have also, and I've never ever used it. And then there's Final Cut Pro. And so these are high-end video editing software platforms. And so, you know, I got Final Cut Pro with the goal of I'm going to sit down and learn how to use this, but it's got such a learning curve. At least I think it does. Maybe it doesn't. But I just haven't done it yet.
Okay, continue. I just wanted, some people might not understand what the significance.
However, yeah. So, what I would suggest is, if you're, and I would say up front, I think that most Bible software is more intuitive just out of the virtual box than, or even Premiere. And you can sit down and you can probably do a few things automatically, but you really have to get into it and live in it and use it every day. And so, I've been working for Accordance. I kind of started doing some part-time stuff for them back around 2007 or 8, and then went more full-time around 2014. But I'd used the software since 1998. And in 1998, that was when I switched from Windows to Mac. And at the time, Accordance was the only Bible software that was that was available for the Mac at all. It's a place. And so I became really proficient, at least I think I was, at Accordance, because I had nothing else that I could use. But the key is, the first key is you just jump in it and you use it. And, when you don't know how to do something, and it doesn't, if you've used one Bible software program and you try to use another one, I would say that none of them work exactly the same way. Don't expect them to work the same way, but open up your help file or get online or something like that and ask, call tech support and find out how to do that. So that was the number one thing that I listed, was just to get in it and live in it.
Yeah, that's good advice, is force yourself to use it and just use it. And as you're sitting there trying to figure, well, how do I do that? It'll be a trial and error kind of thing. You'll want to do something, and then you'll try to figure out how to do it. Now, some people come at this like they don't even know what it can do, so they don't even know, they don't even know how to ask the question, how do I do that? Wes, have you ever been in that situation, and what did you do to overcome that early stage of, I don't know what I'm doing here?
I've had the two main software packages used for Bible are in Accordance and to some extent Olive Tree. I know BibleWorks used to have it used to be like old school email list, and I'm pretty sure they have forums now. They had a pretty good community behind them. I know Accordance, an incredible community behind it, because I use that to the day. And so both of those communities on both those different nations, and I know you've talked about in the past, or Logos, or whatever you want to call them this week, in the past, that they have forums too. And I think that's the best place to go, is to ask users and say, listen, this is where I am. This is what I'm trying to do. I used to remember BibleWorks has that cool command line interface that you can type in all sorts of wacky stuff into it, and it appealed to the geek moving over from Linux when I was using it. And I wanted to do some really cool searches on it. I was like, getting weird results with this. What am I doing wrong? People would sit back and say, get it way, and then I'd learn it that way. And Accordance is pretty much the same way.
Yeah, I think you're right. That the community is a great place to go, and of course, all these sites have a lot of online training offerings. What does Accordance do? What kind of online training does Accordance offer, Rick?
Well, we've got a number of things. We certainly have videos, on places like YouTube and Vimeo, and basically, usually when we produce a video, we'll put it in multiple places. We'll put it on YouTube, Vimeo. We will our website, Facebook. Now really is encouraging people to upload videos. So we do all of that kind of stuff, but we also have, you're on our podcast, or you were on our support page a second ago. If you look at our podcast, this is something that Tim Jenny does, and he's been on this show before with us. The podcast, the podcast comes out maybe a couple of months, and over various topics. And there's even on that podcast page, there's a suggested order for new users to go through. And so that suggested order is a good place to start. And of course, those are being added to constantly as far as video resources. And there's another video resource. I'm not going to say too much about it, but there's another video resource that I'm working on right now, which we'll hopefully have out in a couple of months, which I think is going to be very beneficial. And it's going to be it's a pretty big project, but it's going to be something, again, offered for free, that's going to give a more detailed, logical approach to some of what we're doing.
This is a great list, by the way. I wish that all the websites and all those software companies would do this with this suggested order. Watch these, like it starts with the accordance philosophy, and then more fundamental than that, even why Bible software, digital accordances, and then it goes on down and it talks about, accordance collections, windows, your first run experience, quick start. And then, finally down here, you're getting to a little bit more of the, how to tweak accordance, which is a little bit more of an advanced kind of thing. So that's a great list. And I just found that up here at support. And I've hit the back button and my internet's running slow because I'm trying to stream video through this website. I got 300 megabits per second now, and it's still just 5 megabits.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Yep.
It's still only 5 megabits. Anyway, so
let me say something real quick about that suggested order too. One thing it shows in there is what version of accordance that Tim was using when he made that particular video. Like the one that you're showing right now says accordance 12, and it says it's at the basic level. That suggested order, some of those I think are going all the way back to version 8. Principle wise, accordance builds on previous principles. There was a big visual shift though between version 9 and version 10, and I think 11 was also a big upgrade interface wise. But all that to say is, as part of the pipeline of what Tim's doing is he's going back and he's revisiting some of those previous subjects, and so those oldest ones are going to be replaced with a new interface as we go forward.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad he's doing that. That'll be helpful. Yeah, but it's not just these video podcasts. You have live webinars, which I've participated in a few of those, and I really recommend them. If you're an accordance user, sign up for these. These are great, and they've got it's interactive, isn't it, Rick? You can ask questions. Yeah, and
they're totally interactive. We offer 5 a week. They're generally an hour long. But we've even experimented with doing some all-day seminars through webinars, because we do these all-day training seminars, but live and at locations like we did for Wes's association back earlier this year. But but there are about 5, and so I'm just looking at the ones coming up. So tomorrow there's one called Preparing Topical Sermons that, in fact, speak the devil, Dr. J, Tim Jenny is going to be doing that one, and basically he's even if you weren't preaching a sermon, he's showing you how to use accordance to search for topics, to find topics. And so even if you aren't preparing a sermon, or if you're someone who does more general type sermons, verse by verse sermons, usually even so, you still have to research topics within that. And so he's showing you how to do that kind of thing. And we've got one on our Bible Atlas, and we've got a beginner one on Monday, Beginner Basics, Part 1, Getting Started. It's a great space if you're and you can attend these for free. These are all free. You can even attend them if you've never purchased accordance, and also when you do attend them, you get a coupon for a certain percentage off your next.
You're not supposed to tell people that, aren't you? Isn't that a secret?
Why not? No, it's no secret. That's no secret at this point. But yeah, you get a discount on your next purchase. There's one coming next Tuesday called Stacks and Papers. These are 2 of our new features in version 12 for doing research and then putting that research together. We've got we've started doing Spanish seminars, so we've got a Spanish seminar on Wednesday of next week. And so anyway, you can just look at it. Look, I've got one next week and I didn't even know it. Says Accordance on Mobile, taught by Rick Mansfield. There you go. I didn't even know I was doing
the app.
Who's that guy?
You better download the app and learn how to use it.
I guess so. I seriously.
Yeah, and then these training seminars, these are the ones where you go somewhere, right? Normally, that's what you were talking about that you did at Rick's or at Wes's. Was that your church, Wes?
It was my region.
Yeah. Okay. So that this isn't all just about Accordance, which by the way is a great program, and everybody, if you're getting started, that's a great place to get started in Bible software. But my personal use is Logos, and that's just because that's what I bought when I was in seminary, and I've kind of stuck with it all these years, and it's friendly because I know how to use it. But they also have a lot of training. Some of it is for free. Like you can go, if you go to this support pay, or actually learn, if you go to learn and then come over here, learn how to use Logos 7. You're seeing that, right? I'm just making sure. Okay. And it says learn from Logos Pros. Logos Pros are their people who, the ones who I guess are just super training wizards. And then they've got some, most viewed Logos Now training. Logos Now is their basically where you pay them and they release to you the new features that are going to come in the next version early. Rick always calls that the paying to beta test, which
I was about to say nothing like paying for the privilege of beta testing.
Well,
I don't think that I've ever said that publicly before, Kevin. So thank you for that.
I was talking about Rick Warren.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah, he said that. I'm sorry. Anyway, gotta be careful what you say around me. Logos 7 training. These are, some of the basic stuff. I'm not going to go into too much detail because, all of these different places have sort of the same kind of thing, the video training. And then learn here, these Morris Proctor seminars. These are good, except Logos is the one company that I can think of. No, that's not true. All of them, now that I think about it, charge you except for Accordance. But these Morris Proctor, no, they charge you to go to their live seminar in person where you show up at a place.
I don't know if BibleWorks charge you, dude.
Yeah, I don't think BibleWorks does.
Yeah, the one I went to did. I had to pay for it.
I know you can get their stuff online for free.
Just you.
Maybe it was just me. The rest
You're paying for a press privilege.
No,
some guy was at the door waiting for you and said, "Give me a running."
It was like $60, I think, or something to do both sessions. There were 2 sessions.
Yeah, I've been to
the Morris Proctor seminars. You're going to wish it was $60. They're a little more expensive, but he's pretty slick guy and he does a really good job of training.
He's very good. I've been to one before. He's very good.
So I'm not going to say it's not worth it. I am going to say get the free stuff online first, and then if you really feel like you need it, then sign up for one of these Morris Proctor. But like you guys said,
I was going to say he makes workbook that Logos sells through the store or through him.
You can buy it, or if you go to the training, they give you a workbook as part of your fee.
They give you a smaller workbook, but he's got like a part 1 and part 2 huge, massive volumes that you can get as well. And
then they've got blog posts like the other ones do and different things. And then you can also get their Logos mobile education. You can buy training sessions they make it sound like you're learning a skill, but it's really you're learning how to use Logos in order to do that skill in it, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the community forums are great, and you go in there and ask questions, and there's lots of people willing to very quickly answer your questions. Just don't criticize Logos in the Logos forums, because you'll get told very quickly that you're wrong. But anyway, so that's a Logos and Accordance. Wes, you said you use BibleWorks. Have you used it recently?
I haven't used it recently, but I just went on to their website, and they do indeed. If you go to their support, you can find they have videos from a full day seminar. They have how-to tutorials on there. Olive Tree does not have a whole lot that I can find.
Olive Tree does all their training through their blog. You just basically have to go to the Olive Tree blog and get their training that way. Which, if
Although
you
I
own
remember-
Olive Tree, you'll get notices when there's a new blog post.
I
Inside the
remember.
site.
Didn't Rosa do one of their videos one time?
He was working on a
showing
few,
us?
but they're buried. They're not like easily to find in their support page,
Yeah.
which I just find odd.
If
So there's nothing that
it's not
says like
really on their
download these
support,
videos on how to use
what
this. They have some
what
tutorials, but not a whole lot.
what you really need to do is, and I'll show you here. I'm sharing my screen. Just go all the way down here to the bottom, to the Help Center.
Yeah.
Did you see what I did there? I just scrolled all the way to the bottom of their page under support. They have the Help Center, and then they've also got their blog.
Right.
And those are the
blog
two
is where they
places
do
you're
most of
going to
the
find.
technical.
Now, a lot of their blog posts are like this one. You know, it says "Look Inside Reformation Study Bible." They're just showing off a product that they're selling, but many of them also have things about how to use the resource guide and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So, look inside understanding the Bible. That's kind of, it's sort of like one training for every 5 product demonstrations, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But then their help section here, you know, that's also.
Yeah, they do have a user guide, which I just discovered, but it's not like a video tutorial or anything.
Yeah, it's more reading. I
No.
think it's text more than anything else. And then this is an old favorite of mine that I pull out every once in a while, and that's Luridian, their Pocket Bible for iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows. That's, by the way, if you want a good Bible program from the Windows Store for your new Windows 10S computer, because that's the only way you can get software is through the Windows Store. Believe it or not, Luridian Pocket Bible is the best Bible app in the Windows Store. Now, I hate to say this.
Is it
that's
the
not
only
saying-
Bible app in the Windows Store?
No, there's others, but none of them are good. None of them are good, except this one is decent. You know, it's a decent program. The actual Windows program that you would buy separately is better than the one that you get in the Windows Store.
That doesn't surprise me.
Their best app is for iOS and Android, like most of the mobile first programs. So,
Mhm.
but they've got some help.
I used them.
Page.
I used them back in 2015 when I used a Windows Phone briefly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a decent little program,
6 months.
You know, it's kind of a one guy doing it all. They used to have 2, but unfortunately, their other programmer succumbed to cancer, and he was a great guy.
Aw.
And it was very sad.
They go all the way back to the Newton.
Yeah,
we
they've
had-
been around a
They had like the NIV Bible and the Newton.
And then also don't forget, in your software, some of the software programs have help in the software, don't they? Does Accordance have a
Absolutely.
good?
Let me tell you
Accordance
something.
is
Yeah, go
shines
ahead.
in that. Yeah, Accordance's help system is insane. And it really is that good.
Okay, I was
I wish-
waiting to find out. Do you mean insane as in a good way or insane?
No,
as in a bad way?
it's wonderful.
Okay, good.
I wish that I hadn't taken out the trash yet, because I'm not kidding. Just 2 days ago, I threw away an Accordance manual this thick that was for Accordance 6 point something, because we used to manual and sell them for like $20 or something like that. It was spiral bound and it covered everything, but that was hard to keep up with, and we might have back inventory of some manual and we'd come out with a new version or whatever. So we basically turned the manual into our help system, and the help system, I would say this even if I wasn't working there, it's the best help system I've ever seen. And it tries to be textual. So if you're doing something and you click on that help button, it'll try to figure out where you are and help. But it's got an index, it's got a table of contents. You can find anything that you're looking for, and it'll have illustrations, it'll have step-by-step instructions, things for you to try. It's got like a little mini tutorial in there, and it's just really nice. And the person who designed it actually won an award for the help system that she created for us.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you at all, because you're probably right. Accordance probably is the best. But I remember when BibleWorks, I used to be a much more active BibleWorks user. And of course, this is the box for version 9. I don't know why I still have this, but that's the thickness of the manual. This was very controversial when BibleWorks, I think, went from 6 to 7. They went from a book that was literally that thick,
that book that thick, yeah.
and then they went to one that was this thick, and people were howling mad when they did that. But my attitude was, by then I was starting to get into digital books, and I started saying, guys, it makes sense because now the help can get updated every week or every month, if they come up with new features or whatever.
I remember that when people freaked out about that.
Yeah, they really did. But
so, was that this to the 9, or was it when they went to like BibleWorks 8?
I think it was from 6 to 7, actually. That's how long ago I think it was.
Okay. I think 8 was my last version.
Okay.
So
I think it's when they went from 6 to 7.
People were freaking out. Oh, the whining people had, it was amazing.
Because BibleWorks 6 was the first version I bought, and that was when I was at Southeastern Seminary. I saw a guy in Hebrew class basically doing his homework with BibleWorks instead of actually learning Hebrew. And I said, I'm not going to do this during Hebrew class, but at the end of Hebrew class, I'm buying that thing because I was terrible in Hebrew. Greek was a lot more proficient than Hebrew. But
I do have to admit that I think that my original language skills might be much better if, after I was through with school, if I had not had Bible software. But at the same time, I have access to, probably a greater proficiency than I don't know. Yeah. Who knows?
Up to this point, we've kind of left Antoine out of this. He's not as active a Bible software
I think he fell asleep.
as we are. But he might be drunk. I don't know. But Antoine, have you got anything you want to add to our discussion, just to pull you in here?
Yeah, no, it's not too much. To Rick's initial point, though, of you got to get in and learn the software or use the software. I know you guys just went on a really good piece there about help-based software. I design software, and about the last thing that I ever want to design is help documentation. Because for the most part, help documentation never gets updated after you've done it the first time. Because there's nobody that, and so software that's designed.
Ours gets really updated with every point release.
That's software commits by your really gracious developers who comment their code. But I mean,
I would say Bible software creators across the board are a lot better about that than maybe other software companies.
But my point really is you got to go use the software. The best help that you can do to software is to use it, to not be able to not want to go in and explore the software, figure out what it can do, break a library or two. Those are the things that you need to do to figure out what the bounds are of the software that you have. And then beyond that, going to the forums, going to the help documentation, that's obviously going to be a very good help.
Yeah, my thing for people is always to say, anytime I'm training software for anything, I try to get people to try as best they can go back to the type of excitement and just they had when they were back in the playground. Just imagine that. I'm going to get to the top of this jungle gem. I'm going to, inadvisably jump from this bar to that bar, or to kickball miles away. Like that's the best way or the best mindset to really get to learn software, is because when you're learning new, you don't realize that you're doing it. You're just playing. You don't care if you break something or fall off the gem, or you just do it. And we get so uptight as I'm afraid if I press this button it will explode, and it really won't. The worst you'll have to do is reinstall the software, which anymore nowadays takes about 5 minutes. So there's really nothing people can do that can do stuff. Just go out and play with it and start pressing buttons and see what happens.
Let me just make a statement in the middle of this podcast about people who, if you're frustrated by the sound and the video quality of some of it just feels like the internet might be really under a load tonight. I'm not sure why, but all of us are frustrated and suffering by this. So we apologize for that, but it's something beyond our control. We've all tried to hack our network connections and get them working more proficiently, but I just wanted to throw that in there. Well, any other suggestions or thoughts on what? I mean, we've been very general up to this point. I would say, another good tip.
I would throw something out there.
Go ahead, Antoine.
Yeah, no, I would definitely throw something out there. So something that happened early on, and I'm speaking of my age in digital ministry now, in late 90s, early 2000, in order to make software better for me as a user, it wasn't so much just getting involved with the forums or the help documentation, but I actually got involved in developing the product itself. And so, I know that some of the software platforms, Craig used to do it with Craig Reardon used to do it a lot, where folks would actually take feature requests that were really well thought out and implement those into their respective applications. And I mean, I know it takes a lot of time for folks to think about what they would like to see better, but it really does give a lot of help for those who are building this software and these services. If you've got an idea for how to make something better, maybe the way you transition from one resource to another, you want to see a split view and stuff, things of that sort. Make the suggestion, do a PowerPoint, do an Instagram video, whatever the case may be. You never know, it might be included.
Well, that's a good point. What I was going to suggest also, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now, is like any skill, the best way to learn how to do it is teach it. And so I think, I would say, Rick, you said you used Accordance for a long time, but I bet once you started working for them and training people, you got a lot more proficient in using Accordance compared to the way you were.
That's anything, I never knew Greek as well as I did when I was teaching it. I mean, that's anything, but that's true with Bible software too. If you teach it,
and that's whenever I do a review of a Bible software program for, it used to be Christian Computing Magazine, and now it's usually Church Tech Today. It might be a program that I don't use every day like I do with Logos or Accordance or Olive Tree, but I'll pull it up and I'll begin using it, and then I start trying to write about it. And so my point is, you may not have the opportunity to work for Accordance or Logos or BibleWorks in training software, but you might have a friend, in the neighboring church or someone you went to seminary with, and you can get together and help people, or you can go into the forums of your software and try to answer questions. And someone might have the question and you might say, I don't know the answer to that, but you can go and learn it and discover it and then write how to do it. And that's, believe it or not, just helping somebody helps you because you get a lot more proficient. There have been many a time when I've seen a question and I thought, oh, I don't know how to do that. I'd really like to be able to do that. And I'll go and I'll learn how to do it real quick from somewhere, usually a video online or the help things or something like that. And then I'll go back to the forum wanting to answer the question. Of course, a lot of the very active forums, someone will have already answered it before I have the chance to do it. But teach it. Show someone how to do it. In your church, don't underestimate the number of people in your church who might want to get skilled at using advanced Bible software. You might have some Sunday school teachers or just somebody who's just really loves the Bible and also is, computer literate or wants to be, and offer it. Who knows? I've never done that. Have any of you ever offered a church training in your own church?
Well, I've had Accordance here.
Yeah.
How'd that go? We did this a while ago. This is a decade ago we did this. And it wasn't just Bible software. We actually did missional training. So we had Bible software, content resources, native language, how to deal with native language resources. That was really good. Unfortunately, it was really a one shot only. So it would be great if we could have done more of those. But to do things like that, we really had to wrap it not necessarily around the technology, but around the mission, a dedicated mission that the church was doing. I just had this thought. Have any of you ever used Udacity? Do you know what that is?
I've never even heard. What is Udacity?
Well, I'll share my screen. Udacity is an online training system. It's basically it's online courses, and the users of Udacity are the ones who create a lot of these. And
nice.
so let me stop. I'm gonna log in. The reason I'm doing this is because I have purchased, I think it's on Udacity. It's been a while since I did it, so but I purchased a Logos course on Udacity a while ago. Maybe it isn't on Udacity that I did it. Where else? I bet you know, Antoine. What are some of the other ones like this? Udacity, and what else is there?
Oh my gosh. There are a few. There are quite a few. Gosh, man. Oh, and the name escapes me right now.
I know Coursera. That's one.
There's some on Coursera. There's a number of virtual training.
It might be Coursera that I used. You can't see that because it's guarded.
So what do you do? If you're a user, you can upload a course, and if it passes their muster, they'll list it, and you can sell it?
Yeah, effectively, you have to go through a few checklist items. It goes through somebody who's basically an instructional designer to make sure that things are up to task. And basically, your course gets added to the curriculum. Some of these platforms have a method where you get paid, because some of these courses can be paid courses. A good friend of mine, Joshua Ezzy, who does a parachurch project called Unplugged, he uses Udacity and a few other course building courses. Where he has some free classes that he's put up there, and then once you go through, one of the sessions, then there's like a paid version of courses. He does it actually as like an aside from the workbooks that he does with his books that he writes. There's a lot of different methods in being able to use these MOOCs, massive mobile online courses, to be able to pull this off. It's a pretty decent avenue.
Well, I brought it up because I remember buying the Logos course on it. It was super cheap. It was like $9, and it literally covered every inch of the program. And then when they just came out with is it Logos 7 they're on now? I can't even remember anymore. But anyway, when they came out with the update, the guy updated the courses. He went through, and every single section, he did a new video about the new version of that section and put it in the course, and I didn't have to pay extra for the update. And so for $9, I got, it was every bit as good as, the Morris Proctor stuff and, the videos that I've seen from him. Maybe the guy isn't as dynamic a speaker as Morris is, but the course itself was just as good and just as complete. So, that's an option. I don't know how many, other Bible software companies are using these, but I know in Logos you can find at least on, and it's not Udacity because I can't find it, but I just, in my mind, it's gone. I can't remember where it is. So maybe if someone else has a thought or something they can share, I can find it and let you know if you're interested in it. Anybody else got any thoughts on learning, finding new ways to get better at your Bible software?
But we've talked about it, but I would, I'd also say, if you can attend one of those all-day training seminars, for whatever software you're using, those are just great to be there with a bunch of other people in the room. And, and normally it's going through basics because, what we do in a day, if we were to cover everything, we would really need about 3 or 4 days. But I think that's a really good experience. And I did that first as a user. And I've actually sat in on 3 different platforms. And it's just, to me, it's a great experience to learn how to use it.
Cool. One of the ones that I forgot about, but I bought is a man named John Falahy, I think his name is, and it's learnlogos.com. And his courses are very good too, and I got it for super cheap as well. So
his are very interactive.
Groupon is a great place to go for that stuff. Because
for deals on those online courses and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Well, not just deals on the courses, but actually finding courses that are available. It's because it's already a curated list because it's just those courses that have sales running. So,
good point.
Well, I think we're kind of maybe hitting the end of this because, it feels to me like we've covered a lot of what we planned to or thought to, or anybody have, since we got about 15 minutes before we hit the 1 hour mark, our usual stopping time, anybody have a favorite thing they wanted to share tonight? Did anybody think about it even?
Yeah, I thought about it, but I didn't purchase anything. Haven't purchased anything new. Oh, actually, I take that back. I have purchased something new. An application on my iPhone here, to manage my subscriptions. Because I've got I've got a lot of monthly subscriptions that have just popped up lately. So I'm using this application called Outflow. Everything is on the mobile phone, on the mobile itself. Nothing is it's not exported to any spreadsheets or anything of that sort. It's just really, and a to-do list kind of alarm that just has the things that you're paying for. It's a couple bucks. It was like $5 or so like that for iOS. And it's very easy to go ahead and put in anything. So because I've got some monthly items that I've been planning on getting rid of or moving to a yearly subscription, I've got like my Evernote subscription. I've actually put my Amazon Prime subscription on there, and a few other items. It's actually is legit. It's really cool. It's got a little alarm set up where it gives you the alarm either the day of or a week before or a couple days before that item becomes due. So you know what account it's coming from. You can tell it what account, what PayPal or whatever that item. I mean, pretty easy to set up. I was able to, these 6-7 items. I was able to set this up in about 6 minutes, 6-7 minutes, and really easy to set up. So I would definitely, especially if you got those reoccurring payments, if you're a medium subscriber or, I'm an Amazon Prime and Evernote subscriber, and that yearly payment always catches me off guard. I usually never see it coming. So I like Outflow. It's a pretty decent app.
Cool. All right, cool. By the way, I found the site where I actually bought the course, and it's called Udemy, as in like you to me, only it's spelled Udemy. And so it's udemy.com, and that's the one. I think you can create your own on Udacity, but on Udemy you definitely can create your own courses, and they have a course on how to create a course. So that's pretty cool. You could even use that maybe in your church, and that doesn't have to be how to use software. It can be a course on almost any topic, and so you can create a course for your church and give it away for free and send them to the Udemy to figure out how to share it, or, pass it around or whatever. Anybody else got a favorite thing?
Yeah, I got 2 of them actually. Hold on a second. So this is the first, and I don't know, you probably can't see that, YouTube television, which I didn't think I would like. I did the free month, and then I figured I'd keep the second month just so I get the free Chromecast, because I wanted to upgrade my Chromecast anyway, and it's the same price as the month of the subscription. And I really like it. The DVR function really works very well. It just, you tap it, say just record every episode, and it will. And then I actually this week, because I actually buy the current season of Doctor Who off of Amazon, so I usually watch it the next morning, and after I finish my sermon prep. And whatever, I realized it was on, and I recorded it, and it 20 minutes episode, they went, let's start playing that, and it has all the skip features, everything. Their iPad interface really needs work because it's really just a phone interface turned on its side. But it's a really good start, and that's my first use of an online streaming service. I think after this month I'm going to cancel it by one of the DirecTV ones, just to see how they compare. But it was really cool, and I've been watching the Phillies lose, so I guess that's nice.
Ow.
They've been losing in epic fashion. And then my second thing is something I've had for a while, but my Apple now my bank allows me to put my card on Apple Pay. So now I can pay with my watch. And I didn't think I would like that, and it's just dang cool. It's just done. I mean, it's just cool. I'm like, wow, this is nice. Especially because I hate carrying a wallet. So,
Do people
I can
still
like
tell
lock
you,
it in my car.
hey, that's so cool that you can do that?
You know what? Every place that I've gone, the people are like, I've seen people do it with their phone, but not with their watch. That's really cool. And I'm just like, wow. I even set it up with my wife and had her do it at a Whole Foods, so it's kind of fun. So, but that's I'm enjoying that. So those are my two favorite things right now.
Okay, Rick, you got one?
Not this week. I will next week.
Okay.
Because I have something.
Have I talked about, since I got the Samsung Galaxy S8? Have I shared?
And on the pod?
On the podcast? Okay. Well, that's what I've got. Samsung Galaxy S8. And it is a beautiful phone. If you like Android, then you will probably like it. Unless you just really hate the Galaxy, I mean the Samsung interface. I know a lot of people.
Freeze for you guys?
He did.
He went, hey, you know what it was? All of the iOS guys, and he started talking Android.
I think so.
He just completely froze.
Except we're using a Google service, or so.
Yeah,
think
but
that
Right.
Google,
Why would they knock us off?
but Google makes a whole lot more money with with iOS and Mac OS. But no, actually, to his point though, the S8 is actually pretty slick. One of my guys in Bible study, he picked one up, and it's way thinner than you give it credit for. It's kind of like when Apple went from the 3.5 to the 4-inch phone, and you were like, hey, it's really thin. It's tall, but it's thin. It's that same kind of feeling to it.
Look, Kevin's back. He's cloned himself.
I'm back. Oh, there's two of me in here now. Everything, the old Google Snap.
Yeah.
Well, I had two windows of Chrome open, and they both instantly went snap. And so I restarted Chrome and got back into it. Anyway, so I think, Antoine, you were saying something else about the S8 and the unusual form factor or screen size. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a nice thing, having had the 5S and then the SE, and I went to the 7 Plus, and I'm very cognizant of the width to play with the S8 and be like, woo, that is really thin. That being said, if the whole spy shots of the iPhone 8 are to be believed, that's going to be a really nice handheld phone.
Well, I think I love this phone. The camera, again, Samsung makes great cameras, just like iPhone. I think they're excellent. It's fast. It's very fast. It's the fastest, Android phone I've ever used. It never stalls. I mean, I can have 15, 20 apps open, and it's still all of them. The minute you tap the screen, they pop. The sound is subpar. But, I seldom ever listen to the sound just on the phone itself. I'm almost always using a pair of earbuds. I've got a pair of V-Moda wireless earbuds that last forever. They're like 12-hour long Bluetooth earbuds that sound really good, and that's what I use with these most of the time. I went ahead and sold my Apple Watch and picked up the Gear S3 smartwatch, and I'm very happy I did, just because it interfaces well with this phone, and it also, in my experience, I know that we've had some debate about this in our private chat group. To me, I'm quite certain this is a lot more accurate tracking my personal activity. When I do exercise, it tells me that I exercise for about as long as I think I exercised. And then, I can literally count the steps from here across the room, and then wait about 10 seconds, and my watch tells me you just walked 10 more steps. So it's very accurate. I know, Antoine, you said you had heard that it was inaccurate, or past models or very inaccurate in testing. I can say this one is incredibly accurate in counting steps. I also like, this is a cool feature, it'll count the number of times you go up a set of stairs. And so you can set a stair goal, you know, don't use the elevator, go up the stairs instead. Where I go, the places I go don't have a lot of multi-floor things. And so, you know, I said I go up and down in my house 2 or 3 times a day. That's about it. But so anyway, the combination of the two are great. Here's the one thing. If you're thinking about a Samsung Galaxy S8 and fingerprint placement is important to you, it's the worst place in the world for a fingerprint reader. Oh, it's terrible.
That's
I keep
bizarre.
wanting to go like that. They put it right next to. Yeah, and so here's the crazy thing about this. Samsung figured that this happened. Obviously, they were testing their phone, and people kept doing this, and they would then take pictures with their camera, and their pictures would show fingerprints on it. So phone software now, when it opens, tries to sense, is there a fingerprint on the lens? And if there is, it'll tell you, wipe your lens off. I've had it happen 3 times now, where it tells me to wipe the lens off because there's a fingerprint on it.
Well, I'll tell you, there are a lot of iPhone users who ought to do that too.
Well, yeah, but what? Like, huh?
It's really strange. I've gotten somewhat used to it now, but honestly, I still, if it's in my left hand, which is where I hold my phone most of the time,
right?
If it's in my left hand,
the camera.
I always have to. I do this. I have to, you know. Okay, there we go. So I've gotten in the habit.
When you have to think about it, it doesn't make any sense.
It's still better than typing in a password. It still is better. I just wish they would have left it down here. You know, I wish they would have.
That's what I don't understand. I know, Antoine, we've talked about that in the back, is, you know, holding it, and that's why people have been putting the Pixel in the back. I got to tell you, I like my fingerprint reader in the front.
Well,
think about it. I don't have to reach for it. It's just there.
Some of the rumors about the iPhone say they're going there too. So
I know. I don't.
No. That would be horrible.
Well, no. There's 2 rumors. One, they're moving in the back. The other one is they're finding a way to integrate the fingerprint scanner to the screen technology itself.
I think that's what happened here.
They've done it in the screen.
They wanted it on the front because this thing is pressure sensitive. The front home button is pressure sensitive. When it's off, I could turn it on using that. Yeah. And if I'm correctly connected to the right stuff, I've set it up. It's supposed to come on without having to fingerprint when I'm in my home Wi-Fi. It's not doing it for some reason right now. But
no, Apple owns the patent to actually do fingerprint authentication on the pixel level, sub-pixel level. And so they had that patent back in 2013, 2012, 2013. And so
the rumor is Samsung tried to do it, and
they couldn't do it.
Last minute chucked it because they couldn't make it. So anyway, Samsung doesn't care about Apple patents. Everybody knows that. They copy everything Apple does and vice versa. That's like part of the war. Let's copy what they do and then sue each other to death. All right. Well, I don't know. Any questions other than the stupid fake fingerprint placement?
No, actually, a question blows my mind. So actually, no, a question that I have, and you know, Android users have traditionally been heavily into customizing their phones. Not to say that iPhone folks aren't, but you know, the level of customization is a lot less on iOS than it is on the Android phone. It's kind of Android strength. And you going back to an Android phone, or at least going to the S8, you know, pretty much full time as your main phone. Do you find that yourself twiddling with settings, customizing it, tweaking it, or did this kind of come out of the box, you know, or at least have minimal setup tweaking effort for you?
I used to do a lot more of that. I don't do it much at all now. I mean, here you see it. I just have a grid, right? Okay. By the way, this is the the Edge feature. I don't use it, so who cares? Bixby is, their thing is sort of like Google's Google Now and that kind of thing. I don't use Bixby hardly at all, so I don't care about that. I don't like to talk to my phone I don't even like to talk to people on my phone, to be quite honest with you.
Dude,
I'd rather text people or email them. You know, it's just quicker usually, unless it's someone I'm
still
really
waiting
wanting to interact with.
all of them to get smarter.
But the point
Sometimes
is,
I compare them.
for me, honestly, I can't give you a really good reason. I'd like to give you these reasoned, rational things about why I like this better. I can't. It's just it's emotional and very personal. I just like it. It feels better in my hand. It looks better. The screen is better. The camera is as good. I'm not going to say better because I think the iPhone 7S or 7 Plus camera is awesome. But you know, I've got a home phone, which is my iPhone. That's the one that has our family line that used to be our home phone. And I don't want to give up that number because, you know, my position as a pastor, there are lots of people who it's frustrating for them to have to change calling me from a different place. You know, I know that may sound, some of you may think, oh, that's weird, but pastor a church with a lot of senior adults and you'll understand. But I just like it better. It's nicer to me. Here's one thing I like. You talked about Apple Pay.
Yeah.
Samsung Pay works almost everywhere.
There's
almost nowhere that Samsung Pay doesn't work. You can't use it at the gas station credit card reader. That's you can't with an iPhone, an Apple phone, Apple Watch either. But you go into some dumb old store that, you know, they haven't heard of technology other than they got a card reader because someone told them they had to 12 years ago, and it works with that 12-year-old card reader. You hit the button, put it over the card reader slot, and it works. And they look at you. Did you just hack my card reader? And you no, it's called Samsung Pay, and maybe they've seen a commercial and you don't get arrested for it, but it works everywhere. And that's one of the things I really like about and missed when I got rid of my my Note last fall and quit using it regularly. So that's something I've missed a lot more than I ever thought I would, and happy to be back. Because around here in the sticks of Western North Carolina, semi-rural area, Apple Pay works at maybe 7 or 8 stores that I regularly go, or restaurants that I go to regularly. But this works everywhere, so I love that.
Man, I'm so happy that the cheapest premium gas station area now does contactless pay, so I can pay with Apple Pay at the gas pump. I am a very happy camper.
It's nice, and it's a lot more secure. What I really hate, though, is when you use Samsung Pay, it's the actual, hey, we accept Samsung Pay, and it still asks you for a PIN. It's like, idiots, it's not as secure as this is more secure.
No, doing a PIN is more secure. It's doing the watch is your user code. That's your username. The watch is being your username.
That's what I mean.
The PIN is your password. All right, one more
the
question.
Two together are secure.
One more question for you, Kevin, since I know we're.
And then I've got one for you.
So the Samsung S8 came out with the feature, the DeX feature, the plug it in, it becomes a desktop kind of thing. Is that a usage case for you that you could foresee yourself using with the S8? Why or why not? Kind of.
I'll tell you this: if I could get one now on Amazon, I would, and that's because I've got some Amazon credit. I've got a bunch of Amazon gift cards, so it would end up costing me like $40 instead of the $150. Right now, it's so back ordered that they say if you order one today, you might get it in August, and so I'm not going to bother with that. I can't get it for super cheap from Samsung directly, where I could probably get it and it would ship by the end of the week. The reason I'm not going to get it that way, number one, is it's more expensive. You have to pay the whole $150 instead of use my Samsung or my Amazon gift cards. Second reason is I backed a project called the Superbook on Kickstarter, I think it was, and basically that's the same thing, only in a laptop form factor. And it's a really nice. I guess if you want to see it, for those who might care,
that's the thing you can hook like the Raspberry Pi into and everything, and just
it uses I forget the name of the. I can't remember the name of the video technology that uses. The company
Is
is
it
called
using like
Sentinel.
Miracast or?
It's probably using Miracast to pull
It's
it
not.
off.
I don't think it is Miracast. It's something. It's
Oh,
something I've
okay.
used before, and I can't remember.
Your only options are for video, audio, wirelessly would be DLNA and Miracast.
It's not wireless.
No,
It's wired.
wired.
It's just isn't it just an HDMI
Well,
in?
If it's wired, then it's just HDMI
No,
spec over
It's not
USB-C.
that. It's not. I can't think of what it's called, or I would tell you. But it's a technology that I used in the past with a USB monitor that I plugged into your computer, and it's not showing me readily right here on the front page of this thing. But anyway,
But you would go that route. You would go with something like that versus maybe the Dex. Then
yeah, I've ordered it already. And
Okay.
when the backing was $99 instead of having to pay the $129 here, and so I'm looking forward to that coming. It's supposed to come sometime this summer, in August. But I'll use this. Yeah, that's if I use it. I'm not. We'll see what happens with it. See, and I can't find the
Display link
software. Display link. That's it. Thank you. Where'd you find that?
in their FAQ.
In their FAQ. Okay. Display link is they basically do video over USB.
Yeah. It's a offshoot of the 2.1 spec. The 3.0 spec.
Acer, I think it's Acer, had some USB or does have some USB monitors, and you use the display link software to make it work. And I reviewed one of those, years ago. It was kind of cool carrying around a laptop and a 13-inch monitor. It was thin enough I could put it in my computer bag. So this is what I will use, and that's why the Dex isn't that useful to me or desirable, because I like the idea of having a laptop instead of a desktop. Because you can use a laptop as a desktop if you want, which is what I'm doing tonight with my MacBook for this podcast. So, all right. So, Rick, I think you said you had something you wanted to ask about.
I wanted to know how well your AirPods are working with your Samsung phone.
They work great. Were you meaning that as a joke, or were you serious?
No. I was curious. Are they on par with how they were working with your iPhone?
No, obviously not, because they're not designed with the same juice as Apple puts in between. But you've got your AirPods. It's got this little button on the back, and you can use that to pair with anything that's Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And so they work great. The reason I don't use them with my Samsung phone is I got a set of these V-Moda wireless. See if I can find them for you. This is my second favorite thing. V-Moda. Here they are. Forza Metallo wireless. These things are outstanding. They're expensive, like the Apple AirPods, but they last forever. They last like 12 hours on a single charge. They're comfortable. I thought this thing was going to be the worst thing in the world, that big old band back there, but they're not. They fit in my ears, and they're not noise canceling. They sort of say they are, but but they fit so well in my ears that I don't hear anything else in the room much. People come up to me if I'm out at a public place, and like the lady at the restaurant wants to refill my drink, and she comes up to me and goes, and I'm like, oh, wait, hang on. What was that? Because I can't hear her even though she's talking right in my face. So I like that a lot. And of course, they got these weird thing where you can get these little attachments that cost anywhere from like $50 to $3,000 because they're made of gold and platinum and stuff. That's kind of weird, but anyway, they're really nice. And that's what, here they are, these little gold attachments that it's silly bling, but anyway, that's why I'm not using my AirPods, and that's because I have these and I use these almost exclusively now. I use my AirPods at home more for my Apple TV at night when I don't want to wake up my wife, and for the podcast here when I do it with my MacBook. That's enough. We've covered it all, haven't we?
I think we have.
And I think all of us are sort of petered out and tired and want to go home or want to go to bed. Hey, guys, thanks for this. Thanks for joining us. As always, hit us up on theotek.com or Theotek podcast, and my lower third went away, so you can't see how I spell that anymore. But it's Theotek.com is TheoTek.com. It just went. Oh, it's because when I got booted out on accident earlier, that's when it went away. Go to Theotek.com, and that's where you'll find all our stuff. But I'm going to say goodnight.
Night.
Good night, everyone.